Okay, so it appears there are more changes coming to the Motability scheme, which originally thought wouldn't be happening. If you are a part of the scheme, guys, this is very important that you do take note of this video in full, and I do actually implore you to check any emails that you've registered with Motability Operations. You would have received an email possibly this evening or this afternoon. One of the colleagues who I used to work with, now claims PIP as a Motability vehicle, has actually forwarded this message on to me this evening, about 10 minutes ago actually. It will be on the screen for you guys. I'll give it a read through what it does state, but I'll also put the link down below for you to go and read it in full, because there is obviously a more in-depth explanation as to why. I'll break it down, I'll give you my thoughts, what I think will be happening or changing, and then of course I'll open the floor to you guys at the end of this video to put comments down below, and then I'll read them in my own time. So this is from the CEO, Andrew Miller, from Motability Operations. He says the UK government announced changes to tax exemptions for the Motability scheme. These tax changes mean extra cost, so we now need to review how the scheme works to help keep it as affordable as possible for our customers. I want to reassure you straight away that nothing is changing for your current lease, and your payments and support will continue as normal. However, over the next 6 months, we'll be preparing to evolve the scheme, looking at what we include, how we manage costs, and how we make the scheme stays sustainable for the long term. You'll always get plenty of notice about any updates. I will explain clearly what they mean for you. There have also been some changes to the range of cars. This reflects our focus on affordability and everyday mobility. You can read more of what's happening on our website and how we'll continue to support you moving forward. So again, the link will be down below for you guys to read that. That screenshot was on screen for you there a second ago, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read it in full. If you want to go click the link, come back, and we'll read it in full together, and I'll give you my take on what it may or may not mean. Okay, so let me read this to you guys, and like I've said, please do read along if you wish. If you're hard of hearing, etc., go look at the website down below, or if you can't read properly, just listen to my voice and I'll explain it in detail. It says, a message from Andrew Miller, the CEO of Motability Operations UK. I'm Andrew Miller, Chief Executive Officer for the operations. My job is to make sure the mobility scheme continues doing what it has always done. That means helping disabled people stay mobile and independent, and keeping you informed along the way. You may have seen some reports about possible changes to the scheme today. The government has confirmed that some of those changes will go ahead. I want to explain what that means for you. First of all, why are we making the changes? In the autumn budget, the government has announced changes to the tax exemptions for the Motability scheme. These tax changes mean extra cost, unfortunately, so we now need to review how the scheme works to help keep it as affordable as possible for our customers. At the same time, we're also looking at how we respond to the wider world. Costs have been rising for some time. This is something we've already spoken about with customers in depth. The recent tax changes means we now need to look more carefully at how we manage those costs to limit the impact on you and the price that you'll need to pay. Before COVID, we were benefiting from strong resale prices when vehicles came to the end of their lease. This helped us add extra features to the scheme and give customers even more value for the money on their lease payments. Over the next 6 months, we'll be preparing to evolve the scheme, looking at what we include, how we manage costs, and how we make sure the scheme stays sustainable for the long term. We'll be speaking with customers as we look to make these changes, and what we'll be doing everything we can do to protect what matters most to you. In the meantime, we'll continue to make smaller, practical updates if we find ways to save money or work more efficiently. Now, if I break it just down for a moment, guys, before we continue reading a bit more, this to me sounds like that they've got 6 months to make some changes, and in that 6-month time period, with what I've been hearing is potentially coming on the market, would be a case of lowering the yearly allowance for the mileage. So currently it sits at 20,000 miles a year. If your lease is a 3-year lease, you get, of course, 60,000 miles overall over 3 years. Divide it by 3, that's 20k a year. Motability Operations were thinking of lowering this down to a more manageable, they've not said a figure yet, but what they classed it as was a consumer lease, which a consumer lease is between 6,000 to 8,000 miles per year. So potentially you could find that you're limited to how many miles you can then drive your vehicle moving forward, and any extra miles you do go over will be subject to charge. Again, that's not confirmed. However, that has been the I don't want to say word on the street, it's the wrong analogy, but it's been the rumour in the background going on for some time, and it does appear that's a potential change. What do I think also will happen? I think they will drop the windscreen wiper option. So at the moment, you're basically getting windscreen wipers paid for free, which £30 here and there, £50 here and there, it can soon add up to the operation. So I do think they're looking at maybe taking that off as well, and of course also limiting the number of tyres you can claim on the scheme. Currently there's a maximum of 4 tyres I believe you can have in the first year, and I think 6 in the second or third year. Again, I could be incorrect on that one, a little bit rusty, but it is not all included as you may expect. So let's just read on a bit further into this. Okay. They say what's changing and what isn't. So currently there are no changes to your current lease. If you've got a vehicle on the scheme, nothing is changing. Your payments will stay the same until your agreement ends. Now that's quite important. They've said that actually. Right now, we believe it will take around 6 months for any wider scheme changes to begin. Our focus will be on protecting a core package that includes essentials like insurance, maintenance and breakdown cover while keeping prices fair. To me, that is sounding like what they're saying there is that the payments may be affected. So potentially for some vehicles on the scheme, you may have to pay a little bit more on top of your current benefit exchange per month. So that's something to probably look at, and of course the advance payments also increasing as well. They go on to say updates to the cars available on the scheme. We've always worked hard to give customers great value. We do this by negotiating with car manufacturers and keeping prices fair, and that won't change. To make sure the scheme stays focused on practicality and affordability and mobility, we'll no longer include brands such as BMW and Mercedes-Benz on the scheme. In hindsight, we know that's because of people moaning and complaining because they want these top-of-the-range luxury vehicles. Go out and buy one then. They're going to say, keeping the scheme focused on your needs. Our priority is still the same. We'll continue to offer a wide choice of safe, reliable and affordable vehicles that meet a wide range of your needs. We'll keep working with manufacturers and partners to make sure the scheme stays accessible and sustainable for the long term. Some of these wordings they're using is showing red flags, I'll be completely honest. We'll keep you informed at every step. We know change can feel worrying, that's why we'll take the time to get things right and keep you informed at every step of the way. You'll always get plenty of notice about any updates. We'll explain clearly what they mean for you. Thank you for your continued trust. So again, and that link will be down below for you guys to go read in your own time should you choose to do so. It is a very strange time, and it is a very, I want to say, somewhat worrying prospects for a lot of people, but the next 6 months will be very important. I think that if Motability operations don't get this correct, and if they put more cost onto disabled people, then unfortunately a lot of people will come away from the scheme and look at cheaper leasing options. Prime example, not sponsored in any way, just a quick FYI, but for example, Carwow Leasing, one of the biggest leasing companies in the UK, offered deals from everywhere, but of course unfortunately you need pretty good credit rating to get that, which if you're on benefits and struggle with debt potentially, not everyone is a squeaky A-rated clean, shall we say. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Will this affect you, and do you believe the changes that I've mentioned or potentially could happen will be happening? I don't want to say that I'm going to be correct, but often I'm not wrong. And that's not being horrible, but I do feel like now there are a lot more changes coming into the system and into play, with of course you, the disabled people, footing the bill as per usual. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for taking the time out this evening to watch, comment, like and share. I look forward to speaking to you all again very, very soon. Have a great week ahead.